Hello. Clayton's Irish Den. Good morning. How are you doing? Have you been here before? You sound almost familiar, but it's been a long time. Happy Friday. Hey, Kathleen. I think you were too. It's just been a very long time. It's good to see you again. How are you, Kathleen? Yes, it's Friday already. Isn't it crazy? I'm gonna have to remind myself that I gotta buy frozen feeders today. It is snake feeding day. And I have awesome news about Kina, my newest ball python. Awesome news about her, which I was gonna save for the pet spotlight when I got to it, but I can't. Oh, thank you, Kathleen. It's amazing what a little bit of makeup can do. Although I'm wearing like the bare minimum, so even the bare minimum does wonders. Cat, you had three corn snakes. I had a corn snake, and she escaped her tank, so she's been missing for probably 3 months. Haven't seen her. She's in the house someplace. She's dead or alive, but she's somewhere in the house. Haven't seen her at all. She's just super, super tiny, so trying to find her is like looking for a needle in a haystack because there are a million and one places she could be hiding. So she's gone. Unless she turns up at some point, she's gone. But I have two ball pythons. They're babies. Well, Kina is about a year old and but still small. And Lucille is maybe 6 months, something like that. And I've been enjoying them. I don't want you to stick your tail in my coffee. Thank you. Would you like to say hi? Come here. She's rubbing on the computer is what she's doing. She's just rubbing on the computer. The cat could. The corn snake was very, very fast, so it would probably be really hard to catch her. Um, but there are so many places. We have a boiler for our heat, and the pipes go through the walls, so there are spaces where the snake can get into the walls. So my guess is that's probably where she is. Um, so I'm not able to get her back unless she comes out on her own. I have a horrible story of a snake I had to care for and never want to. What happened? Well, Kina, my newest ball python that I've only had for maybe 3 weeks now. Um, she was neglected and not cared for properly. So she was having really bad sheds to the point where she couldn't see um, very well, if at all. She had like just her eyes were crusted over. Um, and she also has scarring on her back from injuries. Um, but she just in the last, I don't know, I noticed this morning, she has shed. Her eyes are clear. Um, she still has the scarring. It's going to probably be several sheds before that gets better. It looks like it almost looks like her mouth is doing better. She had missing scales um, along her mouth, which I haven't, it's not as noticeable now. But her eyes have cleared up. Um, and she's just very, very curious now, and she's not as easily startled. Last week she did tag me because I startled her accidentally. Um, but I picked her up today and she was just fine. She didn't act surprised. Um, and then she was just really curious. Like I was holding on to her. She was wrapped around my hand. I was holding on to her and I was looking away at something. And when I looked back, her face was right here. Like she was just in my face. Just like now that she can see, she's got to explore. And she's doing that in her enclosure right now, too. It's just looking around because she's like, the world, I see it now, you know? So, yeah, I'm excited about that. And she'll be less startleable and that kind of thing. And I do have to scoop out the one side of her enclosure because when I was picking up her shed, um, I noticed there was a big old poop in there. And it's because she had a a small rat last week for her dinner. And luckily, everything went well. She digested and passed it. And there's a big old turd in there that I got to scoop out. No way, what? Her face and your face? Oh, her face was like right here and her tongue was flicking. And then she just didn't, she was just really curious looking around. And when I went and put her back in the enclosure, she wasn't letting go of me. I'm like, I gave her fresh water and she was like, ooh. So she stretched out and started drinking water while she was still wrapped around my hand. I was like, you can go back in. But I'm really excited that she's doing better now. And she seems so much happier now that she can see. You just have to know the signs of when they're going to strike. And she was a happy snake. She wasn't going to bite. So, in fact, the only time she has bitten me was the one time when I startled her, and she did it so fast didn't even feel it. It just felt like she poked me. She didn't leave a mark. She didn't draw blood. Nothing. It was that fast. Didn't hurt at all. In fact, when my corn snake bit me, that hurt more, which still didn't hurt much. It just felt like Velcro. But yeah, it just felt like I got quickly poked, a light little poke, and she did it so fast because I just scared her. But now that she can actually see and know what's going on around her, she's not going to be so easily startled. Hey, David. And I noticed that when I picked her up too, because she acts a little bit weary like when I was picking her up before. Now she was just like, I know what you're doing. No worries. And I'll want to weigh her. I've been weighing the snakes every week. Um, and the last time I weighed her, let me see, I keep all the records in my phone. When I weighed her, I weighed her on the 27th of December, and she was 214 grams. And also on the 27th, Lucille was 159 grams. So Kina obviously is older. And Lucille is eating adult mice while Kina is eating small rats. But now that it's been, since the 27th that I weighed them, I'm going to want to do it again. See how they do, how they're doing. Hold on, just a message here. All right. So yeah, I'm super excited that she's doing so much better, and she just seems so much happier and more confident, and she's just like interested in what's going on around her now. So very exciting. And then Sylvester's doing well, although he is becoming a picky eater. I'm not buying the alfalfa hay for him anymore since he has gained enough weight that he's not, I mean, he's still a little underweight, but he's not emaciated anymore. So I'm saving money and not buying him the alfalfa hay anymore. I'm giving him the Timothy hay again, but he doesn't like it. Now that he has tasted alfalfa hay, he's like, I don't want this other stuff. And I've learned, not only was the alfalfa hay higher in protein, which is why I wanted it for him to help him gain his weight, it also tastes sweeter. It's a sweeter hay. That's why he likes it so much. And why he doesn't want the Timothy hay. It's not as sweet. So he's become a picky hay eater. It's a little turd. I'm like, I ain't buying you this alfalfa stuff. Not anymore. You've gained your weight. Now we're going to go back to a normal diet. And he's like, I don't want this Timothy hay. I don't want this Timothy crap. So funny. So hopefully he'll eat it when he's hungry enough. Because I'm not gonna continue buying that alfalfa hay. That alfalfa hay, eventually he'll become overweight because it's more like junk food. Yes, it's got more protein, but they don't need that high. They don't need that high of a protein when they're adult bunnies. Um, I just did it to help him boost his weight a little bit more, but now he's like, I love this stuff. I don't want the healthy stuff now. The little turd he is. Because I've noticed when I would put the alfalfa hay in, it would be like he'd eat it so fast. The Timothy hay, it's lingering. It's lingering. He is not he's not eating it like he was eating the alfalfa. And so I looked up, aside from the protein in the alfalfa, I looked things up, and sure enough, it tastes sweeter. So he's like, this is the good stuff. I don't want the Timothy crap. But turd nugget, turd nugget. Right? You're a turd nugget. And I weighed Jax on what day is it today? I weighed Jax on Wednesday. Jax, even though he's a small bunny, he weighs a pound more than Sylvester does. So that's why I know, gauging by Sylvester's size, he should be over 4 pounds. Because Sylvester or Jax is 4 pounds, and he's a compact little bunny. Sylvester is not very much bigger, but he should at least have another pound on him. So just the fact that he was like 2 pounds underweight, originally. That's terrible. Terrible, terrible. But I'm so happy that every time I weigh him, he weighs more. So, although we'll see how that goes now that he's being picky about his hay. But I do have the option if he really does want to swear off of the Timothy hay. There is a pellet that is mainly Timothy hay, and it's also good for their teeth, um, good for dental and stuff like that. I have some pellets here. There are these big, this one's kind of broken, so let me find. They're about that big, whatever, and they're mainly Timothy hay. It says there's nothing artificial. It's Timothy hay. It's good immune support, supports dental health, um, stuff like that. So if he's gonna absolutely refuse, if he's gonna absolutely refuse to eat the actual Timothy hay, I can give him the pellets and he'll still get everything that he needs. And he actually likes these pellets. So it's weird that he's being picky about the hay, but the pellets are Timothy hay ground up in pellet form, and he likes it. So I may just have to go that route. Hey, Trevor. Oh, I do have new animals. It just depends on from, where new from how far back, because it's been a while since I've seen you. I can go through my list and see if anything sounds different to you. I have 2 dogs. I have 2 cats. Right now, I have 3 rabbits. Although I'm going to be rehoming somebody because I can't have 3. My husband said we're not having 3, but I did rescue 2 that were abused. So I think, as horrible as it sounds, I am going to rehome my original bunny because she's great. She is super healthy. She's super happy. She'll be great with somebody else as well. She's 3 years old. Um, she doesn't have an attachment to me, so it'll be all right. These new bunnies have an attachment to me because I've basically nursed them back to health. So it's trickier to rehome a rabbit that bonds with you, especially if they're alone, like they don't have a bunny buddy. If they bond with you, that could be detrimental to them to be separated. Um, so both of them, Jax especially, has a bond with me, and they can actually die of a broken heart if they are separated from their bonded friend. So, that's just, I'm not going to do that to him. Um, and Sylvester is the newest one. And he's doing super well. And they interact with me in a way that Hera doesn't. So Hera will be fine with somebody else, and I'm going to be super picky about who she goes to just because I don't want her to be downgraded in her living space. I want it to be the same, if not bigger. Um, if she could free roam somewhere in a house, that's wonderful. If she stays in the size that she's in now, that's great. I just don't want her to be downsized. And frequently people will have them in enclosures that are too small. So that's my stipulation for her going somewhere else, is that she's not going to be downgraded. So yeah, the 2 new bunnies, Jax I've had since August, which is why there's a bigger bond there. Yes, I had a Holland Lop 20, 22 years ago, 22 years ago, 21 years ago, something like that, 20-ish years ago, give or take. I loved him, loved him, loved him. His name was Baby, and it was spelled Baybee. Yep. He was my very first ever bunny. He was a Holland Lop. Yep. Um, the two rabbits, I don't know what Hera is. I think she's Polish or something. I don't know. I'm not familiar with, a lot of the colors and the what they're called and stuff like that. I didn't go that far into my research. I did more care than recognizing different bunnies. Um, she's big. I would venture to guess that she's probably 6 pounds. Um, she's definitely not lacking in her nutrition. um, Jax is a Dutch, and I'm not sure on Sylvester. I just know that he's got some lion head in him. Other than that, I don't know what else he's mixed with. Lion head mix with something else. Um, and they're both smaller than she is. They're also younger. Jax is about a year old. I don't know how old Sylvester is. Um, I only know Jax is a year old because he was originally at our store as a baby, 3 months old. Someone purchased him and then he was neglected. And then 8 months later, they returned him. They surrendered him. They wanted to trade him in. We're like, no, it doesn't work that way. So they surrendered him, and then we discovered he was sick, and I took him home and, whatever. So he's about a year old, a little over a year old now. Sylvester, I don't know. But they have hybrid lops. I know that they have mini lops, Holland lops, um, French lops. French lops are big. French lops are going to be your biggest lop. Yes, I still have Remy. Remy's downstairs. He's doing great. He's doing great. Um, so I stopped when I got to the bunnies. So I've got the 2 dogs, 2 cats, the 3 bunnies that'll eventually go to 2. Um, I've got 4 hamsters, which basically I have Harry, the hairless, Pip, and their 2 daughters. Um, and then I have 2 gerbils that I rescued. They were in a tiny cage that was way inappropriate. Now they're in a bigger enclosure with appropriate housing that they're just living it up and having the time of their lives. Um, and I've got my tarantula and I've got my leopard gecko. Got my parrot, my finch. Um, I've got the 2 ball pythons now. I got 2 snakes. Um, I've got cockroaches, the bigger cockroaches that had babies, but the parents passed away. But I've got one that's maybe about that big, and then I've got a bunch of babies. I've got a Pac-Man frog now. I've only had for a few days. I just got a pea puffer fish, and then I've got my other fish. Um, I have less rats than I had before. My son has 4 rats. I have 5. Um, so I rehomed a lot of rats. I think that's it. This is like Noah's Ark. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them are in twos. I got the two gerbils, although the gerbils were siblings and they were in a cage that literally was only this big. It was like that big. Kid you not. They live to burrow and make tunnels, and they couldn't do that in this thing. So now they're in a 20-gallon long tank. The I have a divider, a cardboard divider down the middle. It's shallow on one end where they have a wheel, their food dish, their water, and then on the other side, it's the bedding is like that deep. And they spend most of their time on that side where you can't even see them because they're underneath it making their tunnels and stuff. They even chewed a hole in the cardboard rather than going over the wall. They go under it. They made a hole and like a little doorway, and they go from their tunnels to the shallow side and back through. So they're having a blast. Um, they're both black. They have one slight difference on their nose. Their names are Basil and Parsley. Um, they're really cute. Um, yeah, so that's what I got going on. And then I got my first ball python about 3 months ago. She's great. Um, and then I got my newest ball python about 3 weeks ago. She was neglected. Um, she's already doing so much better. She just had a shed. She couldn't see really before because she was having bad sheds. So there was like her eyes were really like crusted over. So she couldn't see. Now that she's had her shed while she's here, she can see again, and she's just like a new snake. She's like so curious and looking around. And given the opportunity, would you ever own a capybara? I guess. Are they really? They're big. I don't know. I'm not familiar with their temperaments. I know that they're related to guinea pigs, but I'm not sure on their temperaments, so I don't know if I would or not. I would love to own a chinchilla. That's next on my list, but that's when I have no more rats. Um, because I can actually use the cage that the rats are in for a chinchilla. But a chinchilla is on my list. And then maybe a hedgehog. I don't know. My stomach is making gurgly noises. I don't know if you can hear that. Luckily, my microphone is noise canceling, so yeah, you probably can't hear it, which is good. Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them. I've just never researched their temperaments. I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine. I really don't like the idea of snatching animals out of the wild to make them pets, which, oh, and I forgot to mention my hermit crabs. I do still have my 3 hermit crabs, which technically, I've only purchased one of them. The other two were surrenders, but that's another thing that I don't necessarily like is that their hermit crabs are snatched out of the wild. They don't breed in captivity, so they're snatched out of the wild to become pets, and then half the time, the majority of the time, they're not even kept appropriately, um, and they die a very, very premature death because people don't keep them properly. I saw both Barry and Average Girl the last time I went live, but which was when? Right after Christmas, I think, about a week ago ish. I think I did a New Year's stream or like a Happy New Year or something like that. I don't go live as often as I used to, and my hours have taken a nosedive. Forever ago, I was like already had hit my hours. I was over 4,000 hours, was doing great in that department, and then trying to get up my numbers. My numbers went up a little bit to almost 900, and now they've dropped back down to 836 or whatever it is, 835, 836, and my hours have nosedived. I've gone from over 4,000 hours to under 1,000. So nosedive. But I mean, I don't have a problem with keeping wild animals as pets if they can't be returned to the wild. Obviously, if you're keeping them legally and if they can't be returned to the wild for whatever reason. But otherwise, being in captivity is not natural for them. So anything bred in captivity or raised in captivity is one thing. But if they were already living out in the wild and they're snatched out, I don't find that to be fair. Hi. You want to say hello? Say hello. He's trying to get all my attention right now. He's doing good. He's at work right now. He gets up super early in the morning. He probably leaves about 5 o'clock in the morning. something like that. He'll be home around maybe right before dinner. So he's doing well. He is doing well. He's had some rat losses. He's lost couple of his rats. I lost a rat. I lost Lena a couple weeks ago. Lena was about a year old. He lost his very, very first rat, Raina, and then he lost Sagira. Sagira is about the same age as Lexi. I still have Lexi. So yeah, he's been really sad, losing his babies. Nope, not at Taco Bell. He hasn't been at Taco Bell for a while. He is now he works in a factory. Well, not a factory so much as a warehouse. It's a company that sells a lot of outdoor things. It's called Outdoor Concepts. And he works in the warehouse part of it, packing and unpacking product, packing it up to be shipped out, unpacking it to stay, that kind of thing. That's what he does. So, and he makes better money than I do. So, dude even has a 401k. Yep. I don't have one. He's got one. So, yeah, he's doing good. He is doing good. Although he is spending a lot of money in gas. He's got his own car now, but he's spending a lot of money in gas because it's a 45-minute drive from home to work that he does Monday through Friday. And I was like, you might want to start thinking about getting a job that's closer to home. Because he was carpooling with his dad, because his dad works there too, but he works in the office. And they were carpooling, which was all fine and dandy. But now his dad isn't living in the same city anymore. He's living in the same city where the company is. So now he's got to drive himself rather than carpooling, and it's really getting costly for him for gas. So I was like, you might want to consider looking for something of equal or better pay here, so you don't have to constantly be doing that drive. Yeah. And I worried because he hasn't had his driver's license for very long. And this is his first winter driving. So when we had a really bad, we had a lot of ice last week and, whatever. I was like, be very careful, please. Like this, you've never driven in this before. I was a nervous mother. But oh, Sylvester looks very, very happy right now. He's laying on his side. He is like all stretched out, laying on his side, legs all kicked out. The bunny. They don't do that unless they're super, super comfortable because it is not a position in which they can jump up quickly. Um, because being a prey animal, they usually position themselves in a way that will allow them to get away quickly from danger. His position right now would not be that. That is a very uncomfortable, I feel safe and happy position. And that's really good to see. Business at the pet store, it's going. We run across crazy people all the time. One of our puppies is in quarantine right now because she accidentally, in her excitement, nipped somebody and her little sharp puppy teeth broke the skin, and they filed a report and an incident report and everything. And when that happens, they have to be quarantined for 2 weeks because, an aggression thing or whatever. And she wasn't being aggressive, but people are being stupid and not understanding what happens with puppies and filed a report. So now she can't see anybody. um, until the quarantine is up, and then she can be out again. Really, it upset all of us. Yes, yes, we wear masks. We surely do. Which I don't like wearing them, but I will do it because I totally get it. I understand. I had COVID. I did have it. I got it the 20th, the 20th of November. I came down sick and I got tested and all of that, and I did not feel good at all. And I had the shortness of breath. I still have shortness of breath occasionally. Because of, your lungs have to heal. But yeah, it really, really made me upset about about the puppy. She's a sweet dog. She was just excited. She was excited. And her teeth snagged on someone and they threw a fit. So yeah, we deal with that on occasion, and then people getting irate and angry over the prices. We didn't set them. So I mean, yelling at us is not going to change anything, and no one's forcing you to buy them. I am too. I am too. I'm glad it wasn't worse. My ex-father-in-law passed away from it in November. And yeah, so my son's grandfather, yeah, he was one of those people that thought it was a hoax, and now he's dead. So it makes me sad. Everybody else disappeared on me, it looks like. And I'm happy I got a new Pac-Man frog. I had a Pac-Man frog earlier last year that was around that big. And I rehomed him to a friend who really, really wanted a Pac-Man frog. She wanted an albino Pac-Man frog, which I had. So I was like, you know what? You can have him. It's all good. Got a new one the other day, and he is a baby. He's only like that big. He's so little. And he's green. So his his or her, I don't know what the sex is. Right now I've just been calling him Kiwi. Don't know if that's gonna remain or not. Um, but he's so little, it's so funny. Yeah, he's pretty cool. I'm gonna buy crickets for him today because I haven't fed him since I brought him home. It was like a little adjustment period for him. And they only eat every few days anyway. So it was all good. I'm gonna get him some crickets today. I'm thinking they're gonna have to probably be either smalls or kind of small mediums, because he is a little guy. He's just, that big-ish. So super, super small. I'll be doing a pet spotlight. I'm starting to do some pet spotlight videos. They're just little short ones. I've done Harry, my hairless hamster, Jax the bunny, um, and my tarantula. Those are the three I've done so far, but I'm going to be working my way through and doing everybody. So Kiwi will be in there too. And then Sylvester and the snakes and the cockroaches and all of that. Love my fashion. This is my work shirt. I work today, so I'm already dressed for work. Oh, and David, hello. I am happy today because this morning I went to check on Kina, my second ball python, and she shed. and now she can see. The crusty covering over her eyes that was making her blind or close to blind has come off. So now she can see, and she's like a brand new snake. She's all curious. Kathleen was in here earlier, and she was like, oh my gosh, no, because I was holding on to her, and she doesn't startle as easy now because she can see. But I was holding her and I was looking away, and when I turned back, her face was like right here because she was like she's curious now. She can see things, so she's like checking everything out. And she was like right in my face, and Kathleen was like, ah. But yeah, she's doing so well. Like now she's exploring her enclosure all over again because now everything looks different because she can see. Um, so yeah, I was happy to see that she had a good shed and her eyes are cleared up, and yeah, she still has her scarring, but that's going to be several more sheds for that to get better. But the fact that the all of the crustiness came off of her eyes, awesome. Awesome, because now she's all nice and clear and curious, and she's not going to startle as easy. She's probably not going to bite me again because she did that out of defensiveness. I accidentally scared her. But now she's great. Hey, Mr. J. So yeah, I actually put her skin aside. I picked it all out of her enclosure when I noticed. Because I was giving her new water. I opened it up so that I could refill her water, and I noticed she'd shed. So I was like, Yahoo! And it is feeding day today. So today I gotta buy I gotta buy her rat and Lucille's mouse and feed them tonight. How you doing, Mr. J? So yeah, I am excited about that. I'm excited that she's doing better. And just the amazement, she's not as weary of what's going on. Like when I would hold her before, she just was she wouldn't move around too much because she can't see. So, and then she was easily startled. Now I held her earlier and she was just all over, looking all over the place. It was really cool. It was really cool to see. And I'll have to put her shed in a little baggie or whatever and label it because I don't want to confuse Lucille's sheds with Kina's sheds or whatever. I want to separate them out because I've got a pendant with Lucille's shed. I want to do one with Kina's shed and be able to differentiate whose sheds are whose, you know. Kina is also older, so her scales are going to be bigger. Yes, it's Friday. I got to work today, and we're going to get probably some new pups. I'll have to do although we may not get a lot of new pups because we don't have a lot of space, unless we've sold any more. Um, but I have to clip toenails today on all of them and clean ears and stuff like that. So that's going to take up a good portion of my shift. Because we've probably got about 20 pups. So that's a lot of nail trims and ear cleanings. And some of the puppies do not do well with nail trims. They're very wiggly. So sometimes I need help because they don't stay still and they're just going to slide right off of my lap because they don't stay still. So what's everybody's plans for this weekend? The rats are playing in the background. It looks like Shiloh and Irina, the blind ones. They've been upgraded in their cage, so they have more space. And every now and then, I keep hearing their little jingly ball as they play with that. I got a message. Let me look at it. Hold on. I didn't hear it. Dang. Um, it was just somebody that I worked with. She's got a couple of mice and she wanted me to hear. She did a little video and said something about, can you hear her sneeze? And I didn't hear it. 'Cause she thinks she's got an upper respiratory. Yeah, I love, like, it can be frustrating sometimes. Like, we have a puppy that's, like I said earlier, in quarantine because somebody filed a report because she accidentally broke the skin. You know, she's got sharp puppy teeth and she was excited and she ended up accidentally nipping and breaking the skin. And rather than understanding that, these people threw a fit. And now she's in quarantine for aggression for 2 weeks. She can't see anybody. And that mm, really upsets me. But so I spend time with her at least because that's not fair to her to be like shut away from everybody for 2 weeks because somebody else was stupid. It was clear it wasn't aggression. She was happy and she's teething. And I, that's when I really get frustrated with my job, that people are so clueless on puppies. And we have signs all over the store that say you play with them at your own risk. So if you get nipped, you chose to play with the puppy. And we always, if they're extra nippy because they're teething or they're very excitable, we'll warn people ahead of time. And they're like, "Oh, it's okay." And then 2 seconds later, after they have them, like, take them back. Yeah, lots of messages here coming now. Okay, now I can hear it. I still couldn't hear it. Still couldn't hear the sneeze. Hold on, guys. I'm just giving her advice. I said it could be a URI, which is upper respiratory infection, or it could just be that she had a tickle in her nose and needed to sneeze. My rats sneeze on occasion, and the vet says they're fine. So, but yeah. So we definitely have to deal with people who clearly don't understand what they're doing, and they blame the puppy, and they'll say, "Take it back. It's too aggressive." No, it isn't. It's playing. And they have to learn. They're babies. They have to learn. And just like human babies put things in their mouths, so do puppies. But puppies, have sharp little teeth. While babies that are teething don't have teeth, puppies do. So, you know, it's just I sometimes I just want to knock some heads together. Knock some heads together. Come on, people. But yeah. Otherwise, I love my job that I can work with the animals. Like, I'm all about animals. I'm totally advocate for animals and taking care of them properly. And um, I always try and educate someone when I'm out on the sales floor, which I'm not I don't work sales, but when I'm out on the sales floor, when I don't have anything at that point to do in the kennel, I will totally talk with customers that are interested in certain animals about their care. And sometimes they haven't had no clue. And other times they'll just talk to me about animals they've had or whatever. And but I've had the opportunity to have several conversations about proper animal care for certain things, and they'll be like, "Oh, I had no clue. Well, thank you so much," and stuff like that. Sorry about that. Still talking to her about her mouse. She's just worried. Anyway, oh, David, I just noticed. I need to get over it. I didn't know you were feeling sick. I'm sorry. Hope you do feel better. Just make sure that it's not COVID with the flu symptoms, because any other time, if it wasn't the time of COVID, it would have just been the flu. But yeah, I got tested and it turned out being the dreaded thing. Hey, MT, how are you doing? Rats are being noisy. I gotta turn. I'm sitting cross-legged and my legs are getting tired or sore, stiff. Yeah, I just decided to come on and being Friday, and I was excited about Kina and how much better she's doing since she's shed. Kina being my newest ball python who couldn't see, and all of that because she wasn't taken care of properly. And her eyes were crusted over, so she couldn't see. She has now shed, and her eyes are cleared up. She can see, and she's like a new snake. Just very curious, looking around, checking things out that she couldn't see before. So yeah, that's exciting to me. Today is feeding day, so I'll be bringing home their feeders today so that they can eat tonight. And yeah, everybody's doing well. Drinking my coffee. I gotta work later. It's gotten pretty quiet. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Like I mentioned already earlier, I was holding her this morning and I was looking at something, and when I turned back, her face was like right here. She was checking me out. And it's kind of, I turned my head and I was like, whoa, because she was like right here, which it startled me, but she was just looking at me. She was just like, hi. I've been saving it and making like I want to make pendants with them. So I already have two pendants that I made with Lucille's shed. Um, here's one. I got one hanging in the car, but here's one. And I have another shed of hers that her face was intact and I want to use it. But this is one of them. That's one of her sheds. So I am saving them just so that I can make pendants with it. Um, so now I have one of Tina's sheds. I just have to label them so I know whose shed is whose. Um, a lot of people will just dispose of them, but I'm like, I can make pendants with this. So like I have this I'll show you um the last shed that Lucille had. Um you find it. The last shed that she had, this is her face. So I want to use that in a pendant. I think it is super cool and it'll look awesome in a pendant. So definitely want to use that. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. But now that I've got a shed for Kina's older, so her shed might look a little different just because being bigger, her scales are going to be bigger. Um, so we'll see. She's not going to have perfect looking like on some parts of her body because she's got scarring on her body. So some of the shed isn't going to look great because of that scarring, but yeah, I like them. I definitely like, and I told a friend of mine because they have several snakes. And I said, when they shed, save it and give me the shed and I will make a pendant for you. And she's like super excited because one of her snakes actually passed away out of nowhere and she was super upset. And I said, do you have one of his sheds? Because if you can find one of his sheds, I will totally make a pendant for you. And it's like a little memorial. You always have a piece of your snake um, as a memorial once you don't have them anymore. And she's like, she was nearly in tears. And she was like, if I find it, definitely, she wants a pendant. So, yep, it's super, and they're easy to make. So, um, yeah, I'm really excited to make the one with Lucille's face. And I got to straighten out here. I'll show you in the box here. I got to put it in a better place. This is part of Kina's shed. She's definitely, the skin is definitely bigger than Lucille's because Kina is like 6 months older than her, approximately. But all of the dark pieces, like all the dark areas, that's the pattern on the snake. And these big scales under here, that's the belly. These are the belly scales, these are the back scales. And then any of the dark coloring is actually the pattern. So This is just a piece of it. She didn't cut it. She didn't shed all in one piece. So this is just a portion of it. But I can see like the pattern on her back here. And then of course that's the belly. I think not a lot of people want to use the belly scales. I think the belly scales look pretty though. But you definitely want to go for the pattern on the back because that's what shows up in the pendant. This somehow she managed to tie into a knot. I don't know how she did it, but she tied her own skin into a knot. I literally pulled it out of the tank like this. So tied her own skin in a knot. This is another piece of her shed. Don't think this looks like this could be part of her face. It's the under part of her face. It's like her jaw, like her. Sadly, I don't think that she's got her face in here. Here's another with her pattern. I don't know if you can see it. But the top part where her eyes were probably wouldn't have looked good anyway just because she had all that extra stuff from before. But I've got all of this shed that I can work with for making pendants. So it's super cool. Yeah, so that one here, wait, where'd it go? Where'd it go? This one here. That is natural. Like this is the middle of her jaw. Right there. That's the middle of her jaw. So that's the underside of her face. But yeah, super, super cool how that works. Super, super cool. And I do have, just for the purpose of making other pendants, just snakeskin pendants that aren't necessarily personalized to someone's snake. One of our ball pythons at work shed a few days ago, and I was watching it happen. Like I was watching her slither out of her skin, which was super cool. And I soaked. She has mites, so she wasn't on the floor. She's back in isolation, trying to get rid of the mites, and she shed. And I wanted the skin, but I didn't want to bring mites home, so I soaked the skin after, like when she was done shedding. I took it out and I soaked it to make sure there were no mites on it. And then I just dried it and everything. And now I can use her skin for making pendants, just random pendants. Yeah, so it's super. Whoops, I just opened a window. I got a little dirt from her skin on my computer. But yeah, super, super cool how they do that. They just the oils build up on their skin and their older skin will separate from their body and they'll just kind of slither out of it. And the humidity in their enclosure helps that. So if it's not humid enough, they don't necessarily have best shed and it gets real flaky. This is considered a good shed. The only reason why it's not in one piece is that she like ripped it. Like sometimes the way they do it, they'll rip it. But the fact that it came off in such a long piece, she was having a good shed. And then this other long piece. So add it together, she had a pretty good shed. Yep, that's snakeskin. And I'm willing to make people pendants. So if you want a snakeskin pendant, like it doesn't even have to be a pendant, like a necklace pendant. I want to order keychains. And you could probably put one of the pendants I have on a keychain. There's bracelets. Like you're not gonna wear a bracelet, but yeah, this is Kina's skin that she just shed in the last. I don't know when she shed. Um, Probably be in the last few days. But yeah, that's her skin. So it's really cool. And then yeah, like I said, this is this pendant. So yeah, you could totally put this on a keychain. And I have one on another that I just hang in the car. But this is Lucille's skin from one of her first sheds. So the dark piece, the dark areas on there, that's true to her shed. That's her darker pattern, her dark and light pattern. But I know that there's a glare, so it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, super, super cool. In fact, I'm gonna put this on. But yeah, it's really cool. And then, like I said, I want to do one with Lucille's face, since I have one of her face, like her skin. I think it's over here. Yeah, her face is in here. I wanted to keep it safe. It's Lucille's face. So I want to use that in a pendant. Her eyes are there and everything. So, yep, that is going to be a pendant for me. Obviously, no one else. That's for me and me only. You found a lot of skin, wild snakes. That would be cool too. Like, there's no reason why you can't make pendants out of random snakes' skin. And a lot of other people will just, they'll stretch it out and they'll put it on a board and frame it or whatever. Other people will just put them in jars and, this is a shed from this time. They'll label it. This is a shed from this time. And then if it's all in one piece, especially, you can see how they've grown with each shed, because their sheds and their patterns are going to be different. The bigger their body gets, the bigger the pattern is going to be. So you kind of almost keep track of their growth by their sheds. And Lucille's shed with me 3 times. 3 times, I believe she's shed. Kina, this is her first one with me. I know it's not her first shed ever. It's just her first one with me. But I'm just super excited that her eyes are not crusty anymore and she can see. That's the exciting part to me. She was having such bad sheds in the past with whoever had her that it wasn't coming. She was getting stuck shed all over her eyes, and it was just, it won't come off. And then it makes it so that she can't see. So she had a good shed this time, and that came off of her eyes. So super exciting about that. Yeah, it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I had seen somebody else, I'd seen where it can, like, I watched a tutorial video on how to make these, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, obviously I put a colorful background in. I put a little blue background in. My other one that I have hanging in my car has a white background. But you can do, I just don't want to use colors that are going to hide the pattern. So they've got to be, if they're going to have color, they can't be too dark, because otherwise it's going to hide the dark parts of the pattern. So anything that's like it's color, but it's a light color, um, so that it doesn't hide the pattern. But yeah, so super cool. And then yeah, just these cords. I got these cords separate, and then the pendant part with the little glass dome that came together, and then I had to buy like a sealant or whatever to seal the dome on. They're really fun to make, actually. So far, I've only made two, but I've been really impressed with how they've turned out. So, and I do, like I said, I want to get bracelet, like things for bracelets. You can do bookmarks even. I've seen bookmarks, um, keychains, things like that, which basically it's just this part that's different. This is going to be pretty much the same or how it attaches. And there are different pendants that are different shapes. At this point, all I've got is the round, but I can always try and find different shapes. I know that there's like rectangle shapes, there's heart shapes, there's star shapes, I think. So it just depends. But right now, the round is all I've got. But yeah, a friend of mine, they've got 11 snakes, I think. They just got a new one. They've got corn snakes and ball pythons. Um, they've got some young ball pythons. They've got a ball python that's 3 years old. She's huge, like literally her girth. She eats large rats. So her girth is like this. Like she's a big snake. Um, but she's about 3 years old. And then they've got a few corn snakes, and yeah, they've got about probably total about 11 snakes or whatever. And they just recently got a new corn snake. All different, like not all their ball pythons. All I've got is the normal pattern. I've got the normal classic pattern. Their 3-year-old is a normal classic pattern, and I think all of their other ball pythons are different morphs. So their patterns look completely different, which would be really cool for pendants because the patterns are different. Lester is chewing on some stuff. Gonna have to change his he's right now he's basically got a pee pad for bedding. He doesn't really have bedding, but he's pretty much soiled it and he likes to tear it to pieces. So I'm gonna have to change that, get him fresh. If I didn't have noise canceling microphone, you'd hear him right now tearing at his pee pad. He is ripping it because he's a turd. uh, yeah, if you want one, let me know. I've got plenty of skin here. Plenty of skin. Like I definitely want to make one of these for myself from Kina's shed, but I only need a small portion of the skin. So I'll have plenty extra to make more. And then I just need to know where to send it and probably, I would say like $5 because it'll cover, shipping and stuff. But I'm totally good with making people pendants. And I don't even have to give you Kina skin. I could give you random ball python skin from a ball python at work. I kept that skin. So after I watched her shed, I was like, cool, I'm taking your skin. So I have that set aside too. And I think I have a red tail boa. I have red tail boa skin too for red tail boa at work head shed. And I was like, I said to the girl that was working, I was like, what do you do with the shed when they shed? She goes, we throw it away. And I'm like, ugh. But he had just shed, so I was like, if you still have it, give it to me. And she did. She gave it to me. So I have a red tail boa skin too. A lot of skin and not enough pendants made yet. Actually, I'll get Kina out too so you can see her. Oh yeah, she's much better about being picked up because she can see. So here she is. Got a little dirt on her. She's bigger than a little bigger. She's girthier than Lucille. So she eats small rats while Lucille still eats large mice. So that's Kina. Her eyes are nice and clear. She can see. Before they were not shiny, they were crusty and she couldn't see anything. But now she's like so curious about things because she can see what's going on. Pretty girl. Archa, you're a pretty girl. Where are you slithering? Slithering backwards through my fingers. And then I can show you right here. She's got scarring on her back. That should not be there. Kind of hard to see on the camera, but this is curious behavior. She never used to do this. She couldn't see. Like, see the chin? You know, that separation on under her jaw? That's the piece that I showed you of her skin. Right. Nope. Now I can't find it again. Yeah, here. That's under her jaw, right there, with that like divot in the middle. That's that. She's a happy girl now that she can see. You see the laptop? Are you gonna say hi? Yeah, she's a happy girl. Yeah, she's got scarring. Oh, she's got scarring right here on her back, right there. So with several sheds, that should go away. Hi, Sunny Stormy. How are you? Like, she's very interested in this laptop. You say hi. You see the world a whole new way, huh? Yeah, whole new world. She's pretty sweet. I'm so happy she can see. She's doing so well. A lot more active now that she can see. Yes. Are we happy now? We had a shed and now we're all good. Now we're all good. Little tongue flicks for you. Yes. What a good girl. So yeah, super exciting. What a good, and it's feeding day today, isn't it? Yes, when I come home from work, you're gonna have food. Yeah, she's a good snake. And she's about a year old, um, where Lucille is about 5 or 6 months. 6 months probably. Hi. There's this. She's getting right in my face. Any closer and I would have felt her tongue. I don't know how she'd be like. Lucille likes to hang out like around my neck and through my hair. I haven't tried that with her yet. Yeah, both of my ball pythons are have very good temperaments. Lucille has never bitten me. She's tagged me once, but I attributed that to the fact that she couldn't see and I scared her. And it was a defensive move. Um, but I mean, she hasn't done it since. So, so interested in what's going on. I love seeing her eyes shiny now. Like her eyes were so crusty and foggy looking. I I wonder if I have a picture of what they originally looked like when I brought her home. Let me look, because big difference. Big difference. Let me see. Oh, I don't know if I have it. That makes me sad. I don't think I do. No, all I see is Lucille pictures. I don't have one of Kina with her with her. I should have taken a picture of her before of her eyes. So good, aren't you? Doing so. She just touched my face. I think she likes my hair too because she's starting to make her way. I don't know if you can see her moving here. I can feel her muscles going here, and I can feel her back on my shoulder. She's kind of inching her way onto my back. A friend of mine had a 13-foot albino python that took over the upstairs, and it's like, oh my goodness. It had to have been, was it a 13 foot? I'm trying to think because ball pythons don't get that big. So it was a Burmese or a reticulated gets pretty darn long though. Yeah, she's kind of going up into my hair. I don't know if she'll make her appearance. She's like wrapped around my wrist, but she's in my hair. Trying to get you to see, but she's explore. There she is. Hello. 13 foot. I'm trying to think of what python gets 13 feet. I know Burmese and reticulated get pretty big. So maybe reticulated. We have a reticulated python at our zoo, and I kid you not, the face is like this. The head is like this. It's a ridiculously large snake. Burmese, yeah. I would never own one. I would love to have a red tail boa as well, but boas get extremely big too. So I don't have room to house a snake. These are going to be big enough. They're going to be like 5 footers. She is really hanging on tight to my wrist while she looks around. Pickles. She's enjoying herself. She wrapped around my hair tie. Put her tail through my hair tie. Hi. This is the most movement she's had with me since I got her, because all the other times she couldn't see. This is the first time I've held her with her eyesight intact. So she's just enjoying herself. We exploring? Yes, ma'am. She's hanging on to my hair tie. Got her tail wrapped around in there. Yep, love my girls, love my snakes. I never used to be a snake person. And then I met some really friendly, my friend has a really friendly snake, a couple of really friendly snakes. They said never bitten or whatever. And they're like little puppy dogs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I like snakes now. So, yeah, yeah, she's totally hanging onto my hair tie. She's not going to let go. You going to let go? Let's, come on. There we go. Oh, she's around my neck now. There we go. She's wrapped herself around my neck. If I start choking and wheezing, I'll let you know I can't breathe. She's not squeezing. She's hanging on tight enough that she won't fall. There, she's all the way around. See that? Yeah, she's a pretty cool snake. I'm happy that she's happier. And she's definitely bigger than Lucille because Lucille doesn't fit as comfortably around my neck because she's smaller. Yeah, so she's just chilling there right now. She's like, okay, this is cool. There you are. So yeah, super exciting. I'm so glad that she's doing well. So glad she's doing well. And I have her, Lucille is in an actual tank with a lid or whatever, but Kina is in a bin. It's still a decent size. But bins, plastic bins tend to hold humidity better than tanks. So I think that's why she had such a good shed. Um, but so I don't know. I might even want to upgrade Lucille to a bin because you can get the bigger size, um, get a bigger size of a bin for cheaper than upgrading the size of the tank, and it's going to hold humidity better. So, I mean, corn snakes need humidity too, but they don't need as high of a humidity. You want it to be a little higher when they're getting ready to shed, but other than that, they don't need that as much. But ball pythons need a little more humidity, which is why the bins tend to be a little bit better when it comes to that. I mean, you could still hold the humidity in a tank, but the bins, for some reason, hold it better. She's, I could feel her moving around back here. There's her tail. There she goes. See ya. So Anyway, what time do we have? Wow, it's almost noon. I still need to eat. All I've had is my coffee. But I've definitely enjoyed myself today. Where's my phone? So yeah. Anybody got any cool plans for this weekend? Not me. I work today, I work tomorrow. I'm off Sunday, and then I'm grooming a friend's dog. But other than that, not really any big plans. Um, it could be better for a ball python just because they do hold humidity better. It's still a tall, it's still got height on it. You have to make sure that the lids are very secure though. Mine has latches on the side, but once she gets bigger, you would want to make sure that the other sides, the longer sides are secure as well because they can push, and if they can separate that, they can escape. She's not big enough to do that just yet, but there are bins that you can get that have latches on all four sides, um, and then that'll keep them in. But they do hold humidity better. All I do was make holes in the lid for air. Um, not obviously not holes big enough for her to fit through, but holes big enough to allow air in, and then yeah, it holds humidity better than a tank. Why? I don't know, but it does. So, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper to get a bin. I spent $10 on the bin for her, whereas the tanks are going to be, the 20-gallon long tank is like $50, and that's only temporary because they're going to outgrow the 20-gallon long. So, 75-gallon is like even more expensive and a good size for them, but you can get a bin that's similar in size for way cheaper, and it'll even hold the humidity better. So I get the clear Sterilite bins basically. I got well, at least for Kina, I got her a bin rather than, and then there's a heat mat. And I was concerned about she's coming up the back of my head. I was concerned about it melting the plastic, so I have the heat pad sticking to like pane of glass, like a mirror, and then I have that underneath the bin, so the heat still goes through, but it's not attached directly to the plastic. And then she still gets her heat. Um, so yeah. Yeah, that's the only plan I have for this weekend is work and grooming. Still got her tail hanging over here. But anyway, I should probably skedaddle out of here. It's been an hour and a half, and eat some breakfast and everything, breakfast slash lunch, because I'll have to work a little bit later. And yeah, she's got her tail hanging here, but she's like totally exploring behind me. I could feel her moving around. There she is. So yeah, hope everybody has a great day. You see her looking around? She's so happy that she could see the world. Hope everybody has a great day, and I will talk. She just took a tumble. Here we are. And I will talk with you later. Bye, guys.